Ah, yes. Hello. And welcome once again to PoGokeRo Pirate Broadcast. Oh yeah. Brought to you by PoGokeRo. PoGokeRo himself. Yes. Hey, what's up? How y'all doing? Hey. Welcome to this very special, very special, very happy to be here. Very special episode of Pirate Broadcast. This is entitled The Silence. Yes, The Silence. I have noticed a bit of a slowdown when it comes to information flowing down my Twitter tube, my Twitter feed. I think that might be related to the gruesome slaying of a particular journalist, and the lack of significant response from our leaders in Washington, namely Trump. Therefore, this presents like a really eerie thing. It's super dangerous to be speaking the truth. Because Trump has removed the shield of America. Trump has withdrawn the shield of America from the freedom of expression. Because that's what a journalist does. They express. They don't kill. They don't hurt. They just express. And if you kill someone for that expression, number one, you violated their free speech, and number two, that's really unjust. You violated their life. You have no right to stop them. You have no right to inflict violence for speech. So Trump has failed as a president. He has failed us. He has failed to represent us. Oh man, I have a lot. Okay, there's a reason why I'm starting this today. It's because I wasn't gonna do it. I was feeling kind of bad, but then someone was listening to something on their headphones, and then the cord got ripped out, ping, and went on speaker what they were listening to. Who was it? Rush Limbaugh. Oh my God, that guy. No way, come on. That guy is poison. That guy is poison. Yeah, no. Oh goodness. So I'm like, man, I'm not surrounded by dumb people. They're not dumb. What's going on? Because Rush Limbaugh, but I know Rush Limbaugh spreads lies. That guy just is a jerk. He's a cold-hearted jerk. So why would someone listen to him on purpose? That's just infecting the brain, dude. Oh my goodness, that's awful. That's awful. Why would you do that? Listen to my show. Listen to my show. Don't be listening to Rush Limbaugh. Listen to my show. Wow, I don't even know what to tell you, but I can tell you, don't listen to Rush Limbaugh. Everything he says is wrong. My goodness. I don't even know where to start, but I don't even want to have to try, because that guy is just bad. Here, I have a whole list of stuff that I want to talk about. Okay, here in Oregon, it is now too late to register. So if you're in the phalanx, you're in, and if you're not in the phalanx, I'm sorry, man. Next time, but you're missing out. No, this is the battle. I mean, if you missed it, if you missed getting in the phalanx, if you missed getting in, and you feel bad, and you should, you can still help out. You can find people who don't want to vote. Or who can't, have a really hard time, and you can support them. Support roles are really undervalued, I think, in our society. We look a lot, really, high value. We put all the emphasis on the individual, the go-getter, the Elon Musk, the Bill Gates, the Steve Jobs. But man, that guy is resting on a gigantic machine, huge machine of interlocking relationships of people who support one another to make things happen. Like, it's the support. It's the support. So yeah, okay. So I kept talking about, I talked a lot, and I think that it turns on a lot of people. Not turns on, but a lot of people can dig on it. Is Hegel's idealism. The way he went from God back to God through material. It was always spiritual consciousness first. He always assumed that first. That's what he assumed. It was God was there. You see? So along comes this guy, these two guys named Marx and Engels. And they take that whole thing and they just go, bah! And they flip it on its head. They just flip the whole thing over. Just flip it all over. That's absurd to start with the assumption of God. That's just crazy. That's crazy. That's nuts, man. To assume, to start with pure consciousness. What? That's nuts. Like, it's totally opposite. It's totally opposite. There's no way there could ever be that thing you're talking about unless there's all this stuff before. All this stuff before. You're looking the wrong way, buddy. So he's like, so the way Marx and Engels are like, they're like, no, dude, you got it so backwards. You got it so wrong. I'm not wrong, but it's all the way backwards. It's all the way backwards. It's all the way backwards. Because when you look that way, you're always looking up to a higher power. But when you look this way, you're gonna appreciate the fact that you're on a wave. You're on a gigantic machine. You're a part of a huge, I say machine, but it's more than a machine because it's alive, right? It's other humans, and relationships are alive. You have to nurture them, and I'm really bad at that. I'm so bad at nurturing relationships. I'm terrible. But when you look this way, you look back, like, you see that you are connected to this gigantic machine, and everyone's relationship to one another is the thing that connects you. I mean, I don't know, that's kind of a tautology. Your relationship is like, it's your relationship. Look at your relationship to people the next time you go out. How about that? Like, just walk down like when you're driving to work, look around people and see, like, just look at people and see, what is my relationship to that person, to that person? What is my relationship to that person, to that homeless person over there, to that cop over there, to that business owner over there? What's my relationship? Like, where am I going? To my job. What's my relationship that way? So start asking about relationships in your world. Just, when you look this way instead of that way, like, it looks totally different. Yeah. The rules change because, yeah, you cannot have any of the higher stuff until you build the lower stuff first. You just can't do it. Like, that's like ignoring history. That's like trying to forget about history. That's like saying, oh, that's all in the past, forget about it. It's over, right? We're here now, right? It's over. Let's all be friends now, right? No, dude. You can't just hand wave away history. Like, it's there. It's still there. It's still, like, staring at you in the face. Like, it doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't, because, like, you're built on top of it. So you have to deal with history. You have to. You have to. You must. If you don't deal with it, then it's going to keep popping up. It never goes away. Like, it will never go away. So I was in the supermarket the other day. Oh man, I'm just blabbing. Let me be productive here. I need bricks. So I was in the supermarket the other day, and I was talking to a nice person, and they asked me, like, what's the most important thing? And to me, it was like, okay, the most important thing is getting, like, control of our government. And then I said climate change, but that's for me. I think if you're trying to sell it to the populace, like to all y'all, I think a better way of putting it is getting our house in order. Because, like, think of government as a machine, like a mecha. And if your mecha is all like junked up, it's not gonna work very good. So you gotta, like, make sure all the components are working. So right now it sounds like that our mecha is pretty good, right? We have really competent people well, we do have competent people in government. Like, the Trump administration is not so good. What their choices are pretty terrible, and I will give you that. But before that, it's been pretty solid. Like, Republican, Democrat, it's been pretty solid down the line. But Trump is pure cronyism. Like, it doesn't matter anything. It's just loyalty to Trump. So things have been getting out of hand. So it's hard. And then plus, we have this deeper corruption. It's like a malware in our government that stops it from functioning properly. And how do you know your government's functioning properly? Well, you could measure it to be like, I think there's a study out there that's like, what do the people want, and what laws do the politicians vote on? And, like, the most popular things that the people want, like, are never get brought up. All the laws passed are for other things. So the laws that things that interest the politicians are different than things that interest the people. So that's one way of measuring it, I think we got to look at. Another way of measuring it is to say, well, what's our, like, level of representation? If there's X number of this party in society, should not government represent that? Because if it doesn't, then things are going to be broken, and it's going to manifest that way. It's going to pop out in some way, in some kind of gross way. It's going to, like, and that's called this way of thinking, that there's dysfunction and then there's, like, a functional level. That's called functionalism in sociology. It's like sociology 101. It's just a way of looking at things. If things are dysfunctional, then you'll have problems, and those problems will manifest, and you'll see them. If you don't, and you can try to stamp out the problems, but it's like whack-a-mole, because you're not actually taking care of the problem. You got to take care of the problem. And a big problem in our society is inequality, which is wealth inequality, which is a symptom of injustice, right? Societal injustice. If you have a lot of inequality, that's pretty unjust, socially unjust. So you'll have problems manifesting from that unjustness. It's just the way it is, right? We worship justice. That's what we do as our government, our civilization, I guess you could say, right? Because we're coming from the Greeks, right? And then we always add on, right? We, like, that's what America is, right? So it's not just we come from the Greeks. The Greeks is like the chassis. How about that? The Greeks is just the chassis that we're using, the Western chassis. But we can modify it any way we want, dude, and we have, and that's why we're American. It's awesome. It's cool, man. Like, I think I'm cool. I'm American, so, like, and I'm an amalgamation of just cultures. Like, I just grab all into, like, all sorts of stuff. There's good in everything. I just take it all. And yeah, man. Yeah, America's great. We're great. This mixing together to make something new. This is remixing. This is, like, basically DJing. So, wow. Hey, let me give you some, like, things going down. So, I'm gonna try to take it back down now to the mundane, but it's like the concrete. Here's the flip side, because none of these great ideas can manifest unless we have a world conducive to to its manifestations, the good ideas. So one way of making sure that that world is produced is ensuring, I'm looking for rocks, is ensuring that you have control of your government. And one way of doing that is making sure that the government you choose is representing you. So I looked over in Nevada, and because I used to live in Nevada for a long time, and Dean Heller, I hate Dean Heller. Dean Heller is running, and it turns out that he ran a scam where he would send VA patients to one of his own businesses. So basically, he was getting a kickback from the VA. I'm like, man, that sounds just like what the governor did in Florida, Rick Scott. He did the same thing to Medicare. He funneled Medicare money through his company and be like, yo, I don't even know about it, while making a lot of money off of it. And then it's what Trump does when he sends the White House to Mar-a-Lago. He's making the government pay all this extra money. It's all going into his pocketbook, into Trump's pocketbook. Like, there's a pattern here, man. Those are all Democrats. I'm sorry. Those are all Republicans. Ah, fuck. Those are all Republicans. Trump's a Republican. GOP. Those are all GOP. Those are all GOP. Like Dean Heller, GOP. F that guy. Like, why would you possibly vote for him in Nevada? What are you doing, dude? He's on board with Trump, and Trump's on board with Putin. And now we find out Trump's on board with that Arabian guy, Mohammed bin Salman. Dude, they're all in cahoots. Now, check this out. Mohammed bin Salman, he is the crown prince of Saudi Arabia. And the big news is a journalist, right? This is the silence that I'm hearing. A journalist who was a U.S. resident, right? He was working to become a U.S., like, he was under U.S. protection, basically, right? Because he has U.S. residency. He's working for a U.S. paper. Like, he doesn't live in Saudi Arabia anymore, right? In fact, the only way he has to deal with them only because of bureaucracy. And so he does, but he goes to another country and deals with it. So homie's in he's a journalist. I don't have his name, I'm sorry. He's in Turkey because he's not going to Saudi Arabia. F that place. So he's in Turkey. He's like, I'm not going in here. I'll go to your consulate in Turkey. How about that? That's as close as I'm getting to Saudi Arabia. And Saudi Arabia's like, okay, sure, no problem, dude. Because this dude talked some crap about Saudi Arabia. They're not like democratic at all. They're pretty bad to their people. Talk about wealth inequality, huh? Right? I hate wealth inequality. And what does Saudi Arabia produce? Saudi Arabia produces great wealth inequality for its people. And it exports a bad form of extremism. And I guess you could say the mirror goes both ways, right? I'm looking at the mirror going, yeah, that's pretty much us too, right? That's because we don't control our government. If we controlled our government, then the policies coming out of that government would help us, and not the rich dudes like Trump and his cronies, who are all in the GOP. They're all Republican. They're all Republican. All right. So we know that Trump has joined forces with Mohammed bin Salman to cover up the butchering of this dude. He went into the Saudi, yeah, that's right, I was telling my story. He walked into the Saudi consulate to take care of his bureaucracy. They grabbed him, and homie like hit his Apple Watch to hit broadcast. But those guys didn't know, and they dragged him in, and they started just pummeling him and like cutting him, and he was like, ah, right? And then they whipped out this bone saw, a saw, man. And they start sawing his leg off, and so he's like, ah! And he won't shut up, right? And he's like bleeding everywhere. And there's another guy saying, oh man, you can't be doing this here, you're gonna get me fired. Go do that outside, do it, come on, get out of here, you're making a mess. And the guy is like, ah! And they fucking beating him, you know? Like, and then finally they like drug him, so he shuts up, and then he's still alive, but he's drugged, and they just cut him up. They cut him to pieces. They cut him to pieces because he talked, because of what he said. And Trump, instead of Trump being like, whoa, like with America, right? Because that's what America does, right? He has the American shield, right? He should be like, boom. But no. Trump sends Pompeo over there, and Pompeo's like, oh yes, okay. And then Mohammed bin Salman is like, okay, here, have some money. And these guys, the GOP, they're like, it's happening. I mean, it's real. This is just what happened. This just happened. Okay, and then like it got buried. I'm gonna keep mentioning it. You know, Trump. There's a story in the New York Times that Trump cheated on taxes with his dad. We don't have Trump's taxes, but we have his dad's taxes, and they all show this massive tax fraud. So Trump is the New York State is going after Trump, I think, because of these returns. I haven't heard anything about it yet, but they're kind of busy. I think they have a lot of stuff going on. So yeah, I'm supposed to be going down to make a tunnel, a rail, into the dark. Nope. All right. So, I can't do this. This is way too hard. I can't do this and talk. So I'm gonna stop and just look down. Okay, and continue. So in Georgia, they're having a really close election. Right? Georgia, I think, is like one of the hearts of the Confederacy, because wow, they're gerrymandered and they do massive voter suppression. This is the place where the guy who's counting the votes is also the guy running for governor. Like, I think they did the same thing in Kansas, where the guy counting the votes was also the guy running for governor. Like, I don't, like, it's insane, right? This is what I'm talking about when you have to say, make sure you control your government, your machine, because those guys are terrible. Those guys are not on our side. They're not on our side. Like, Democrats, I don't know if they're on our, I mean, I think they're marginally on our side more than the other guys, just based on what comes out of the policy, right? What comes out. Yeah. So I'm not saying worship the Democrats, but I'm just saying right now, like, if you're in the phalanx, like, you want to make the phalanx as big as possible, and I'm thinking Democrats are the way to go this time, right? Down the line, because we have to overcome any potential Russian hacking, and that's how we're gonna do it. It's just by overwhelming. So, but in Georgia, the governor, or the guy there is invalidating. Ooh, let's see. All these all these absentee ballots. So the problem in Georgia is that they have, like, they really don't want you to vote. The government there. If you're black, they don't want you to vote. So in the black voting districts, or the lines are just abysmal. They're just really long lines. It's really slow, really inefficient. To discourage voting. And if you got to go back to work, you can't just be standing in line all day. Like, it's just, you got to pay rent. That's the way it is. So, like, you might be cool and say, all right, well, at least I'll vote absentee. Well, now this dude is like saying, okay, well, I'm going to discount these absentee votes. So again, this dude using the power of the government is disenfranchising the weakest people amongst us to control the government. Who's doing this? The GOP, the Republicans. Those are the bad guys. That's the Confederacy, right? When I talk about the Confederacy, you know, back in the day they called it the Confederacy, but today we call it the GOP. If you want to talk to me about it, I'll talk to you about it. And we can look up sources, but you got to take time, right? Because the brain, you guys are brainwashed, man. if you're not, yeah. What you were told was wrong, is what I'm saying to you. If you're not on board with what I'm saying, then yeah, because the GOP is absolutely not on board with America. They are, they have sold us out to Russia. And you know, so I don't know what the internal politics are going on with the Saudis, right? I think there's a big power deal going on with them. I'm not really sure what that is, and frankly, I don't care. I don't want to be involved in it. I guess we kind of are, right? Because that's what our oil alliance is all about, and we have been involved with it in a while. You know, so I guess you might say this is kind of karma. I guess this is us dealing with our history. History doesn't go away. Check it out. It's not going away, right? All right. This is another work farm. Up there's the rail return. Over here, yeah, see rail return. Over there is item sorter. Here was the item sorter return. Then it got blown to hell. I'll fix that later. So I'm gonna make a train station. How would I do it? Bop, bop. And I could do it right where I had it before, I guess. Might cover up a bit of the hole, but that's all right, I guess. That's cool. That hole's cool. I don't know. I don't want to lose it. How much of it would I lose? Up to there. I can still see down. That's all right. Ooh, I'm getting a phone call. Hold on. Let me see who this is. It's a private number. It's probably my grandma. What's going on with my grandma calling? Oh, hold on. Hello? Oh, sorry. Wrong number. Wrong number. Thank you. Bye-bye. A new tactic. So yeah. Okay, where was I? Broke my train of thought. Hey, dude, check it out. There was the flow interruption, right? There's the thing that stopped Shaka Zulu. The electron. This election. So okay, here's another way of thinking about it. The baby boomers didn't come from nowhere. They too came from a place. They came from the greatest generation, is what we call them. My grandma's part of that greatest generation. she told me about the Great Depression.
This is fucked. This is fucked. No money. No weed. Replaced by part of corpses.
So she told me what it was like in the Great Depression, and she told me when at one point they had to eat dog food because that's all they could afford. That's all there was. Like dog food. And they're like little kids, dude, eating dog food in America. And then like what, sometime in the 1930s? So yeah, man, stuff can get really, really real. Stuff has been really, really real. After that, after what happened there, they went to war, right? And after they went to war, they came back to America. Eisenhower built the interstate highway system because before the interstate highway system, America didn't have these nice, awesome interstates. Everything was like a patchwork of internet-connected tiny-ass roads that made transporting goods across the country really, really, really difficult. Right? So Eisenhower is the one who did that. That was a huge project. That made America awesome. That was great. How awesome was that? Then I see that. Where was I? I see that. That hasn't happened. Hold on. That has happened. I got ahead of myself. The greatest generation also voted in a government that had high taxes on corporations, super high taxes on corporations and the rich, because they had to pay for all this great stuff. What they paid for was college, free college for their kids, right? And their jobs were really, really stable, and they were pretty good paying, and they had really good union rights that they fought for in the 20s and 30s, right? They fought for all this great stuff, the greatest generation. They fought for all this great stuff for us. And then they gave that to their kids, the baby boomers. And those kids, right, those kids had a great upbringing. It was awesome for them. Because their parents knew that, man, it was hard for them. Holy crap. I want to make sure that my kids are well set. So yeah, their kids, the greatest generation, created a government that really supported the society. So the baby boomers grew up, and they're like, okay, yeah, but this costs a lot of money. I don't want to pay a lot of money in taxes. Like, I don't see how this helps me anyways, right? This doesn't really help me. Like, it doesn't help me if I have these parks that I don't even live next to. It doesn't help me if I have to pay for these kids going to school if I don't have any kids. My kids are grown. I don't want to pay for it. So I don't like these property taxes are expensive. I don't want to have to pay for these things. So bit by bit by bit, the baby boomers chipped away at the very structure that made them like super well off. And then, so what happened naturally is that if you chip away at society, like the returns you get on society are going to be less. So what happened to their kids, which was Generation X, which I am a part of, I'm at the tail end. They said things are a lot harder for Generation X. They didn't have the great stuff that their parents had, right? Our college was a lot more expensive. And the jobs that we had didn't pay nearly as much as they did, and they weren't nearly as like guaranteed. And man, healthcare was getting more and more expensive. And like, yeah, like, and then they would turn around and say, well, you guys are slackers. That's what's going on. So our productivity was like plateauing out. We weren't like excelling past our parents because we didn't have the same structure they had because they were voting it out. So it came down on Generation X, my generation. You guys are slackers. You guys suck. You guys are terrible. You guys are no good. You guys are doing nothing. Look at you guys. We did great. Our parents did great. Look at you guys. You guys are a bunch of nothings. So I'm like, and like of course, right? Generation X, we worked really, really hard to try to bust something out, and then I think we were saved by the .com. No one talks about that anymore because the .com. But yeah. Yeah. And then after that, ever since after that, it's been getting harder and harder. So so I think now we're at the point where our grandparents are now the baby boomers. And this election that's coming up is like a referendum. And it said, like, to the baby boomers, like, this is the society that you left us, that you gave to us. And this election is a choice of, do we want to save it, or do we want to throw it all away? If you vote GOP, you're throwing it all away. And if you don't know that you're throwing it all away, it's because they cut your education. I mean, we can talk about it, like, and I would, but like, I have to like, it's hard to tell who's talking in good faith and who just wants to spew talking points, because you waste energy talking to trolls. But I will talk to you if you like really want to know. And I don't know where to even begin. I don't know where to start to ask people. Like my cousin, like Captain Pond, El Capitan, he did not know what Jim Crow laws were about. He did not know. He had no idea. I mean, and that's like integral. You gotta know what that is to know what things are, man. What do you mean you don't know what that is? That's like a super important part of American history. It's super ugly, which is why you have to know it. Because it's ugly, because it's disgusting, because it's the reverse of what we want to be. That's why you have to know what it is, because it's so disgusting. That's how you know what you want. Right? That's how you know who you are. What you find disgusting, what you find abhorrent, what you hate, is also how you find out what you love. So yeah, this election, man, this is like a test. This is a test. Baby boomers are like, this is what we left you, kids. Do you like it, or do you want to trash it and start over? So yeah, get the vote out, right? Okay, so I'm gonna get more local to Oregon. So I looked up a little bit of Knute Bueller. I found the one thing I need to know to make him a 0. Knute Bueller is anti-vaxx. So he's a no-go. That guy is anti-science. He's a kook. He's crazy, and he threatens America severely. I'm not joking, right? Because America is amazing. You guys don't get. Your memories are short, or maybe they don't teach, or maybe they don't impress upon you the importance, or maybe it's because you never leave America, and so you don't know what it could be like if you're not in America. How it could be if it wasn't this great. So before there were vaccinations and antibiotics, like, diseases were awful things that would kill you easily, and they did, like, or cripple you, and kill children, little tiny kids without even a chance. Like, They don't even have a chance. Like by the scores of them, just tons of kids, tons of little babies just die because we had like no idea how to stop it. Then we figured out vaccines, and it works. And the way it works is through herd immunity, which means you have to vaccinate as many people as you can, because some people cannot be vaccinated just because they have weakened immune systems because of chemotherapy or something, or for some reason they cannot, right? But everyone else has to be vaccinated because that will make sure it never comes back. The more unvaccinated people you have, the bigger of the chance you have of a mutant strain of the virus appearing again that the vaccine doesn't stop, and then wiping out everyone again, with all these kids get paralyzed from childhood, never to grow up and run around again. Like, come on, do you really want to do that? So Knute Bueller wants to do that. F that guy. No. No on Knute. Damn, wow, yeah, yes on Kate Brown. There it is. Every single measure, 3 through 6, no. Easy peasy, for sheezy, my kneesy. That's so old. Oh man. Okay. Where did I even pick that up from? I don't even know where I got that from. I know it's recycled from somewhere, but I don't even know. Easy peasy is from Counter-Strike. Counter-Strike Go. Let's see. Yeah, I'm embarrassed. Sorry. I don't know. What do I got on here? Alright, here's this other guy I really hate. Pat Robertson. Pat Robertson. Pat Robertson is a bad dude. Here, let me tell you why he's a bad dude. I think he, certainly is a bad dude. Pat Robertson. Because check this out. Even though Mohammed bin Salman killed some dude for talking smack about Saudi Arabia, even though he did that unjustly, even though he did that, this quote spiritual leader, Pat Robertson, said, oh, it's okay because we don't want to endanger our arms deal. It's okay, dude. I want to trade swords with this guy. This guy needs swords. I want to help him I want to give him swords. Our God wants to give him swords and get back money. Pat Robertson, wow, dude. Oh, you. Oh, man. Oh, you. Oh, dude. Pat Robertson. Oh, dude. Evangelical Christian. I think. No, he's not really, right? By the definition, I don't think he counts. So he might say one thing. I don't think what he says necessarily means anything. Okay.
George, I was wondering, like if you were traveling through outer space, I mean, like you're going real fast, like the speed of light, you know, and all of a sudden you start screaming, I think that your brain would blow up.
Hey George, do you think my brain would explode? Living life at hyperspeed, doing it all out of greed to gain the status of pompous and mentals unconscious, cause you stay where we stay. Another one launches to blast off and disintegrate. The sun rays incinerate. In the great mood, being crude was never funner if you ain't alive now. Aw man, what a bummer. Another summer, Another generation dumber for all the front runners, gripping batons and getting ready to pass the next top of the class. We got gas in the tank, we got loot in the bank, we got a dump full of diapers. The smell's getting riper, right here, right now, with tractors to plow and push around the messes while we're worried about dresses and who'll stop the presses. Quiz shows for guesses by what impresses, the stresses consume. If you want to be somebody before you enter your tomb, and you die with your hoard and grip a sword to protect it, cause shit can get hectic when others want to take. I mean, for goodness sake, you waste your life making cake, but you'll never digest it. Kept interested, material infested, and yup, yo, you guessed it, possessed it and got it like it's something erotic. Owning this junk just to fill up your trunk, and maybe it'll float when our world is sunk.
We all float down here. Ugh.
Better than who knows it well, who can tell the tale? It is a genocidal fulcrum. It is a genocidal fulcrum.
理解を超えた宇宙の中の地球の中の地中から飛び出すミュージックフロー。それは四六時中 Free stick define non-stop 4 seasons. I got a question in my mind. What happened to my brain? Go the speed of the light. What will I see? Where will I be? 失う式の中で見える光。それでもチャンスあれば行ってみる意味。新しい世界を見る Dreamy got the feeling. Cheese will give me real hip hop recipe. そしてつながらん KFC よ 3MC での新たな旅完成。浴びるより求める完成。George, are you listen to me? If you don't know Japanese, you got the feeling. 幼い時に学んできた知識。生き方は母に人としては父に。てめえで取る責任逃げるより先に。人々はみんなふり、俺だけは調子。知ったかの受け売りに俺は寝たふり。手のひらで踊り全てしたつもり。はみ出さないライン向いてないウィギに揃える足並みそすれ人並み。穏やかな海よりも激しい荒波の日にわざと船出す意識。彼に行き先見失っても必ずある行き先。足がかり甘すぎる世の中に見切りつけて出る一人よ I'm ready さあ腕まくり。行ったり来たり最終的なを残す Underground History。マイク握る役は俺が敵に。
Who can tell the tale? Better than who knows it well. Who can tell the tale? Who can tell the tale? Better than who knows it well. Who can tell the tale? It is a genocidal fulcrum. It is a genocidal fulcrum.
Yeah. The mind of mine glances like a distant star of light, ever flowing as if the sky was condensing, like the mist and dew in the morning, walking on air, balance that we share. Till the storm dies down, we shall bear too many casualties from an unknown enemy. The reflection of the street light at night remind me not of what it used to be. Human ancestry, disrespecting the elderly. What a shame to be living in a society where greed and lust rapes the beauty of life, and sometimes it gets to me. So I seek liberty, cause true human freedom, you see, is to be able to choose your own reaction from within, cultivated in a heart of imagination, opening the gates of fire. The grace has made it easy. The great second coming is unity. The soul and spirit share. The soul naked and bare for all to witness and see. Not no fake ass tales or misconceptions or delusions about death. Just the deepness of the breath, fearing instead of being thankful. Liberation from out the mouth of the dreadful, only to come back to learn the same lesson again. True wisdom, joy, and yes indeed I enjoy seeing your brain working. I feel I may be scattering the point, so I aim to make it sharper and art myself in the name of the highest. Intentionally I tried to bless and see life as a test.
Who can tell the tale? Better than who knows it well. Who can tell the tale? Who can tell the tale? Better than who knows it well. Who can tell the tale? It is a genocidal fulcrum. It is a genocidal fulcrum. PoGokeRo, who can tell the tale? The wanderer, sifting through the sludge, doesn't budge. Some of course resources, reports from true sources that aren't worth a quarter of my intellect. Try to contest the quality of my text, cope with half my dialect. I stress prerequisites, the facts, any observation without hesitation. Fuck all critics. They're trying to steal my sunshine. What's mine is mine. I didn't invent the style. See now, then now. I present gifts. Be content. I'm fucking listen to it without any interruption. The function is a conjunction with the release of excess waste, not wasted but predated. Check my bibliography, that's me standing next to the cheese and pod C. Started in 03, bobbing to the end of me. That's infinity, considering I got kids, see. This means that our teachings are far-reaching, outliving the body. Ponder on that, now come back to where I'm at. 450 on the track, following the pack, holding the attack formation, deciphering information with devastating results. Consult all the pucks passed out so you can catch up, and thus through continuous rigorous thought, find out what is really sought. Oh well, hell, who can tell the tell better than who knows it well?
I think that your brain would blow up.
All right. So yeah, that was cool. What kind of flow do I have? Let's see. What can I get off? What can I remember? Pick one, hurry. No, see, don't say no, dude, just go. Hypoallergenic, schizophrenic, she's intelligent, wap about topics that increase in the relevance, weigh in with rhymes that are heavier than elements, cryogenic, pre-genetic, pattern up your innocence, walk in her shoes and divine becomes obvious, break your cross meaning, double speak in her sentences and structure, don't puncture along. Oh, I lost it. So I heard the words and I stopped, right? Kind of messed me up. Happens. I get distracted easily. It's not hard to derail. That's not gonna work. So what other awesome things do I want to talk about that are important and I should represent right now? Oh man, let's see. I saw an interesting story that they found the largest superstructure in the galaxy or in the universe again. Well, I guess like this one's like super big. And then I was looking at like I mean, it's like beyond my understanding. I can't even figure it out. How big those things are. I should make an elevator. Do I have any iron? Yeah. Oh, I don't need iron. I have a cart. Whoa! The test. Here we go. And it worked out. That water. What? Oh, something got broken here. Let me fix this. Yeah, just go straight. I don't care. No. Fix that later. Put that on it. Go. Allez, plus vite. Nah. Ah, vas-y. Ah, putain. Let's see. What's going on here? There we go. I turned it back on. No, no, no. Turn around. There. It's good. Yes. No. Oh, okay. I just need to fix the end, but it works now. There's my real line. So I informed y'all about some pretty important stuff, I hope, right? I think I talked about Dean Heller, don't vote for him, America, or Nevada. How Trump is joining up with the bad guys to make money for him, but to mess up America. I covered that. I covered Trump's tax fraud in New York State, which is going to catch up to him. But everyone keeps forgetting, but I'm going to bring it up because, like, I want to see his tax returns. See how Georgia is throwing away absentee ballots in heavily in minority districts to help the Confederacy. Damn them. This election being a test for the baby boomers. We covered that. We covered, oh yeah, so McConnell. Let me talk real quick about McConnell. McConnell, because he made all these huge tax cuts for the rich, right? Now he's saying that, oh, we have to pay for these tax cuts. We have to cut entitlements. We have to cut things to the poor people like Medicare and Social Security. He's saying this now. And they're like, Mitch McConnell, but you made these deficits. And Mitch McConnell says, well, it's not our problem. So this is what Republicans do. When they have power, they grow the deficit as big as they can. So it's really, really big. And then when they don't have power, they use that deficit like a club, and they beat the Democrats with it by saying, oh, you can't spend. Look at this money. You can't fix these programs. Look at this deficit. It's so stupid that people fall for it. It's so dumb. Oh. So yeah, I made a train line. I gotta make a train station. What time is it? Have I been going for an hour? Let me think. Yeah, for an hour. I think that's good for a pirate episode. I covered a lot of stuff. I don't want to bore you guys to death, but there it is. Take care. Have a good night, America. Vote. Be sure to vote. Peace.